You like Daddy's videos? Do you? You're gonna like Daddy's videos. And what? Share them! Get Daddy some views!
When morning broke over the mountain, the storm had vanished. The atmosphere was so crisp it felt like breathing diamonds. Golden shafts of sunlight cut through the misty canopy of the giant forest, reflecting off the damp pine needles.
I woke up on my mossy stone bed frame. I lay there for a moment, listening to the unfamiliar chorus of wild birds and the distant, soothing rush of the river. There was no morning traffic, no alarm clocks. Just peace.
Gideon sat up, checking his hands and chest. The youthful vigor in his veins was undeniable, and his body felt completely refreshed. Sleeping on the stone bed had left him with no stiffness or aches.
The magic within my chest had settled into a quiet, warm ember, glowing with a soft, steady pulse. My survival was no longer a question, it was a baseline. Now, I needed to plan. A master mason builds for the centuries.
A good builder must know the land before laying a single stone. Gideon decided to perform a thorough geological survey of the mountain cliff and the surrounding slopes to inspect what materials were available.
I spent the morning walking along the base of the cliff. The cliff itself was high quality, dense gray granite, perfect for laying foundations and building heavy load-bearing structures. But I needed other materials to build a proper city.
As Gideon walked along a slow-running creek at the base of the mountain, his boots sinking slightly into the damp earth, he discovered a bank of fine, rich clay. It was a crucial resource.
This clay is highly malleable and dense. It will be invaluable for future brickmaking, pottery, and lining the forge furnaces. A town cannot live on granite alone, we need bricks, tiles, and containers.
Moving further along the slope, Gideon found deposits of soft, light-colored sandstone. Sandstone was porous and easy to shape, making it ideal for decorative masonry work.
Sandstone is easy to carve and polish. I can use this for the interior detail work of the houses, lintels, and decorative arches, saving the hard granite for the outer walls and structural pillars.
Higher up the ridge, Gideon discovered layers of natural slate. Slate was a metamorphic rock that split easily into thin, flat sheets, highly resistant to water and weather.
These slate layers are perfect. I can split them into waterproof roof tiles that will last a lifetime. With granite walls, clay mortar, and slate roofs, any house I build will be completely impervious to the elements.
Gideon realized that his magic was far more advanced than simple touch. By pressing his palms against any rock formation, he could project his consciousness into the stone, mapping the internal structure.
I can feel the mineral veins, the hidden fault lines, and the density variations running deep into the mountain. The earth is no longer a mystery, it is a transparent blueprint, and I am learning to read it directly.
He walked deep into the giant forest, gathering dry fallen wood to replenish his hearth. He studied the different types of lumber, noting their density and grain.
These giant trees produce incredibly dense hardwood. It will be perfect for structural beams, doors, and tool handles once I have the tools to cut and shape them. For now, I will use the fallen limbs for fuel.
While gathering wood, Gideon spotted movement in the undergrowth. A large, deer-like creature with glowing blue antlers stepped into a clearing, drinking from a pool of water before darting away.
This wilderness is full of life. Some of these animals are magical, and I must be cautious. The forest is peaceful during the day, but at night, predators roam the dark. I need to make my cave absolute secure.
Gideon returned to a small forest clearing near his cave to train his magic. He sat on a large log, placing different stone fragments in front of him. He discovered that each rock required a different magical frequency.
Sandstone is soft and yields easily. It requires a gentle, flowing stream of magic to mold. I can shape it like warm wax with barely any effort. Let's see what happens when I try to shape a perfect sphere.
Next, Gideon picked up a chunk of layered slate. Slate was brittle and split easily. He focused a sharp, layered pressure of magic, targeting the natural planes of the stone.
Slate demands precision. If I apply too much force, it shatters into useless dust. But if I apply a flat, cutting resonance, it splits along its natural sheets with the sharpness of a razor. Like this.
Finally, Gideon faced a block of hard, stubborn granite. Granite refused to bend or split easily. It demanded a dense, concentrated force to mold, requiring him to project his energy deep into its crystalline structure.
Granite is the ultimate test. I have to synchronize my magical resonance with its quartz and feldspar crystals, softening the bonds without destroying the stone's integrity. It is exhausting, but it works.
With every block he shaped, the warmth in his chest grew stronger. His magical reservoir was expanding, and his control was becoming incredibly precise. He was turning his survival instinct into a calculated craft.
My mana is flowing smoother now, and I can shape larger volumes of stone with less fatigue. It's time to put this training to use. My cave is too small, I need to expand it into a proper home.
Gideon returned to his cave to begin the expansion. Standing in the center of the chamber, he focused his mind, visualizing a second room, a dedicated sleeping chamber, and a deep basement vault for storage.
I pushed my hands forward, and the solid granite wall at the back of the cave began to liquefy under my touch, flowing outward like thick volcanic glass. I guided the stone, carving a wide hallway that opened into a spacious chamber.
The excavation was fast, but Gideon remained careful. He willed 4 thick, fluted granite columns to remain in the center of the new bedroom chamber, distributing the immense weight of the mountain above.
A flat ceiling of this size would be dangerous under the load of the peak. By leaving these columns, I ensure the structural integrity of the bedroom. I willed the walls to have a smooth, polished finish, reflecting the warm light.
For the storage basement, Gideon willed a spiral staircase to descend into the cold depths of the mountain below the main chamber. He carved out a large, vaulted room with thick stone shelving.
The basement will keep my food supplies cool and secure. By anchoring the staircase directly into the bedrock, it is structurally indestructible. I am no longer just digging, I am building a subterranean fortress.
With the rooms expanded, Gideon polished the granite walls using his magic. He willed the rough stone surfaces to become smooth, removing any jagged edges and creating a mirror-like finish.
A smooth wall is easier to clean and reflects light much better, making the cave feel bright and spacious. The texture feels like polished marble under my hand. It is starting to look like a palace.
Next was securing clean, running water. While excavating the basement, Gideon had heard the faint sound of water dripping behind one of the cave walls. He pressed his ear against the granite to locate the source.
I felt the vibration of water. My magic detected a natural subterranean spring running through a fissure in the rock just 10 feet away. I focused my energy and carved a narrow, smooth channel through the granite to redirect it.
The water flowed through the newly carved channel, emptying into a large, polished stone basin Gideon carved directly out of the living wall. He had created an endless supply of running water.
The water is ice-cold, crystal clear, and rich in minerals. I also carved an overflow channel running along the edge of the floor, venting the excess water out of the cave entrance and down the cliff face.
With water, ventilation, and room secured, Gideon focused on comfort. He stood in the main chamber and willed a large dining table with 6 sturdy legs and high-backed chairs to rise directly from the bedrock.
I molded the table and chairs in a single piece with the floor, making them indestructible. I carved decorative leaf patterns along the borders of the shelves to make the space feel warm and welcoming. My cave is now a home.
Gideon willed a large bed frame to rise from the solid granite floor of his bedroom, leaving a deep recess for a soft mattress of pine boughs and moss. He spent the evening detailing the bed's headboard.
I carved simple, modern lines into the headboard. Every piece of furniture in this home is integrated into the mountain itself. No creaks, no loose joints, and no wear. It is the ultimate expression of permanent building.
He stepped back and looked at the bedroom layout. The stone bed frame and columns looked magnificent, but the room was still a bit dark. He decided to carve out recessed lighting alcoves.
I willed small, circular alcoves into the granite pillars. I placed some of the glowing yellow crystals inside them, creating a soft, warm lighting system that doesn't produce smoke or heat. It's safe and beautiful.
Gideon decided to explore the deeper caves behind his workshop to see if there were any hidden passages or resources. He carried a small lantern, walking slowly down a steep, natural tunnel.
The air grew warmer and more humid as I descended. The dry granite walls transitioned into dark, glassy rock formations. I could hear a distant, low rumbling sound and a heavy hiss of steam.
He emerged into a massive, humid cavern. In the center, a natural hot spring bubbled up from a deep fissure in the floor, sending clouds of warm steam rising toward the vaulted obsidian ceiling.
The water was bubbling, heated by geothermal energy from deep within the earth. The mineral scent was strong but clean. This natural hot spring is the perfect source for a bathhouse.
Gideon decided to carve a dedicated bathhouse chamber next to the hot spring. He willed the stone walls to part, creating a clean, circular room connected to the main geothermal chamber.
I willed a large, circular tub to form in the center of the room. I lined the basin with polished obsidian, making the volcanic glass shiny and smooth to prevent any scratches. It looks like black marble.
Gideon willed a narrow, closed conduit to run from the main hot spring pool into his new tub, and a separate drain channel that vented the water out through the cliff side.
By adding a sliding stone valve, I can control the hot water flow. When I slide it open, the hot spring water fills the obsidian tub, sending a warm mist rising into the air. It is a perfect geothermal system.
Gideon stepped into the hot obsidian tub, letting the soothing mineral water relax his tired muscles. He lay back against the smooth stone, watching the steam drift away.
The heat is incredible, taking away all the tension of the hard work I've done. This is my private bathhouse, a sanctuary of absolute comfort carved from the living mountain itself. It feels amazing.
After a long, relaxing soak, Gideon dried off and returned to the main cave hall. He felt incredibly energized. He sat at the stone table and willed a flat sandstone slab to rise.
I used my glowing finger to draw more plans on the stone. The cave home is complete and secure. Now, I need to look beyond these walls. A city needs streets, defensive walls, aqueducts, and houses.
He designed the layout of the valley terraces. He mapped out the locations of the future crop fields, the aqueduct bridges across the ravines, and the residential quarters.
I need to ensure the soil is stable enough to support these massive structures. Tomorrow, I will descend to the valley floor and take soil and rock samples. The foundations of the city must be solid.
Gideon willed a small hearth to rise from his bedroom corner and started a small fire to keep the space warm through the night. The smoke was drawn away instantly by the ventilation flue.
The cave is warm, dry, and filled with clean forest air. I lay down on my mossy bed, looking at the soft golden glow of the crystal alcoves. I am ready for the challenges of tomorrow.
He closed his eyes and fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. The magic in his chest pulsed with a steady, reassuring warmth, a constant reminder of the power he had been granted.
The mountain is my home now. I will shape it into a monument of stone and magic, a sanctuary where we can be safe from the dangers of this world.
As twilight settled over the valley, Gideon stood at his cave entrance, leaning against the smooth stone arch. Below him, the forest was a sea of dark shadows, the trees rustling in the evening breeze.
I have built a home, secured food and water, and mastered the basics of my magic. But this is only the first step. My mason's mind is already drawing plans for terraces, walls, aqueducts, and roads. Tomorrow, the true building will begin.